Mr. President, in 1952, 32% of all of the revenue generated in this country came from large corporations, about a third of all the revenue. Today, just 9% of federal revenue comes from corporate America. 9%. In 2011, corporations paid just 12% of their profits in taxes. That is the lowest percentage since 1972. In 2005, the last figures we have on this, 1 out of 4 corporations paid no federal income taxes at all, even though they collected over $1 trillion in revenue during that one-year period. In 2011, corporate revenue as a percentage of GDP was just 1.2% lower than any other major country in the OECD, including Britain, Germany, France, Japan, Canada, and many other countries. Each and every year, corporations and the wealthy are avoiding more than $100 billion in U.S. taxes by sheltering their incomes in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and other offshore tax havens. So the point is, how do we do deficit reduction? Do you say to an elderly woman in the state of Vermont who is trying to get by on $14,000 or $15,000 a year that we're going to cut your Social Security? Do you say to a disabled vet, thank you for your service and your sacrifice for this country. We're sorry that you lost your legs, but we're going to have to cut your benefits. Do you say to a struggling low-income family trying to survive on one or another nutrition program, sorry, you may have to go hungry and not get dinner on Wednesday? Do you say to working people who have lost their jobs, we're going to have to cut your unemployment compensation, making it almost impossible for your family to survive? Is that our approach? Or do you go to corporate America, who are enjoying record-breaking profits? 1 out of 4 corporations pay nothing in taxes, and do you say to them, you know what? It's time that you helped us with deficit reduction. Now, I hear a lot of my Republican friends and the President talking about, oh, we need tax reform, but we're going to do it deficit neutral. No, I beg to differ. We do need tax reform. We do need to end the absurdity of losing huge amounts of money because of the tax havens of the Cayman Islands and Bermuda and elsewhere, but you also have to raise revenue when you do tax reform. It's not simply lowering tax rates. Mr. President, let me just give you some examples about how absurd the current situation is and why, before we cut Social Security and before we attack programs that the middle class and working families of this country depend upon, we have got to end these absurd loopholes that corporate America is enjoying. Just a few examples. Bank of America, one of the companies, financial institutions bailed out by the American people when their recklessness and greed almost resulted in the collapse of our financial system. In 2010, Bank of America set up more than 200 subsidiaries in the Cayman Islands, which of course has a 0% tax rate, to avoid paying U.S. taxes. Bank of America set up 200 subsidiaries in the Cayman Islands. In 2010, not only did the Bank of America pay nothing in federal income taxes, but it received a rebate from the IRS worth $1.9 billion that year. Okay? Bank of America, nothing in taxes. 2010. J.P. Morgan Chase. 2010, J.P. Morgan Chase operated 83 subsidiaries incorporated in offshore tax havens to avoid paying $4.9 billion in U.S. taxes. $4.9 billion they avoided paying. Goldman Sachs, another one of the largest financial institutions in the country. In 2010, Goldman Sachs operated 39 subsidiaries in offshore tax havens to avoid an estimated $3.3 billion in U.S. taxes. Goldman Sachs. Citigroup, another financial institution bailed out by the taxpayers of this country. Citigroup has paid no federal income taxes for the last 5 years. That's not bad. Many people out there watching watching this say, that's pretty good. How do you avoid paying income taxes when you're one of the largest corporations in America for a 5-year period? That's pretty good. General Electric. During the last 5 years, General Electric made $81 billion in profits. Not too shabby. Not only has General Electric avoided paying federal income taxes during these years, it received a tax rebate of $3 billion from the IRS. GE has at least 14 offshore subsidiaries in Bermuda, Singapore, and Luxembourg for the purpose of avoiding U.S. income taxes. And you want to know why the American people are cynical about what goes on in Washington? You want to know why the Congress of the United States has an extremely low level of support or favorability? It is because the American people know they are getting ripped off. They're working 50 or 60 hours a week. They are paying their taxes. General Electric makes $81 billion over the last 5 years. They pay nothing in taxes. Does anybody vaguely think that that is fair? And then we have some people say, well, yeah, we want to do tax reform, but we want to make it revenue neutral. We don't have no new income in order to help us with deficit reduction. Let's cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, education. But no, we can't get new revenue from large corporations. Mr. President, during the last 5 years, Verizon made over $48 billion in profits. Not only has Verizon avoided paying federal income taxes during those years, it received a $535 million rebate from the IRS. Not too bad. Honeywell International, from 2008 through 2010, not only did Honeywell avoid paying federal income taxes, it received a $34 million tax refund from the IRS. Merck, pharmaceutical industry, Merck. In 2009, not only did Merck pay no federal income taxes, it received a $55 million tax refund from the IRS. And on it goes. Corning, Boeing, Microsoft, Caterpillar, Cisco, Dow Chemicals. Example after example of large, profitable corporations. CEOs make millions and millions of dollars, and they say to the American people, we support cuts in programs for you, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, you name it, but don't ask us to pay more in taxes. So, Mr. President, this Senate has a decision to make. Do we occasionally, I'm not asking for much, do we occasionally stand up to the lobbyists and the campaign contributors and the big money interests and ask the large corporations and the wealthy who are doing phenomenally well to help us with deficit reduction?